York's classic rock, Q1043.
We have with us in the studio right now Danny Pantoliano. Her dad, Joe, is... First, let me give you a little background on Danny. She's a writer, director, and cinematographer, and she wanted to start a podcast, basically, if I understand this correctly, to deal with your own emotional trauma, and it's called No Kidding, Me Too. But you do it with your dad.
That's right, I do.
What's it like? I mean, you have to open yourself up. You talk about a lot of sensitive subjects, things that maybe we can't imagine even revealing to our parents, and you're doing this with your dad. So what is that like? And what about him specifically makes it work for you?
So I was kind of fortunate to have him as my dad. I mean, fortunate and unfortunate. I wouldn't be doing a podcast about mental health if he wasn't my father. But he's always been very open with me about his traumas, his faults. And so for a long time, it was hard for me to be open about that, because then I felt, well, he's open, so I have to be closed, because if something's wrong with him, nothing can be wrong with me. But by doing this podcast, I've opened up a lot to him about what that was like growing up. And he's just been so lovely and wonderful, and also sharing that story with other people. Other people relate to it and tell me about their own experiences growing up with their parents.
Who had the idea of the podcast, you or your dad?
So he started the documentary and the foundation, No Kidding Me Too, but it was my idea to turn it into a podcast because I thought it would just reach so many more people.
Well, his documentary was an award-winning documentary. Mm-hmm. Most of our friends haven't seen it and don't know about it. So Can you tell us about it?
So he did a documentary called No Kidding Me Too, same title as the podcast. And he just has, I forget the number of people, but he has different people from all different walks of life. And they just talk about their mental health and their struggles and how they're pursuing through it. And it's done in a very lighthearted way. You laugh, you cry. So it's very approachable.
So you're doing, because we couldn't wrap our heads around this, that you are going to be doing a live podcast from the comedy festival.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's a live podcast about depression from the comedy festival.
Yes. I believe there's a documentary called Misery Loves Comedy. And so we thought it was very appropriate. But yeah, we're doing at the Gotham Club with Jim Norton, Dean Edwards, and Yamanika Sanders, a group therapy session. And so we're going to be talking about mental health, but we're going to be talking about it with a comedic approach, because every once in a while you do have to laugh to get through the sad times.
And there's going to be a very special guest that hasn't been announced yet.
That
will be
hush, hush.
That
so
will be
you
a part
know,
of that.
Jim?
I don't know who the special guest is.
Oh, okay.
I know there's going to be a very special guest that they have to hush right now.
Can we hint, Danny?
One of those hush situations.
I cannot hint.
She can't hint. It's hush.
It's hush.
You have to understand.
Not
there's
even 2 for Tuesday.
There's no hint
Listen
hinting.
to us.
There's no hinting when it's hushing. I was discussing on the air this morning my own emotional and mental health issues with Shelli Sunstein regarding adolescence and my life in junior high and high school, and I guess it was in a sense, kind of funny and ironic, but the fact is, what I was saying was real. About how
he was scarred.
About how I felt when I was 13, 14,
right.
15.
Yeah, it never really leaves you. It imprints on you. Stuff.
And I was triggered by something that somebody wrote on Facebook, and it just brought all of these, junior high and high school memories to me.
But you know what I love? I love that your dad, Joey Pants, was one of the first in the community to come forward with mental health issues. Of course, now it's fashionable. Everyone is doing it. But your dad did this when, no, you can't go there because it could destroy your career.
Yeah, and he might say that in some ways it tried to, and a lot of people backed themselves away from him, even though they related, and behind the scenes were like, yeah, no, I feel the same way, but like I can't, I don't want everyone else to know. So no, I've always been very proud of him for that, and it's helped me be more open in my own experiences with mental health.
Well, it's Daniela Pantoliano who is with us, and you're a young woman. Your dad has been famous all your life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, since you were born. He's a famous, well-known movie and TV actor. He's portrayed all kinds of different roles brilliantly.
Mm-hmm.
He's been good guys, bad guys, funny guys, dramatic guys, and
Beating up women guys. Oh my God, that scene from The Sopranos is still in my head.
anyway.
Oh my God.
But since you were a little kid, when did you become aware of the fact that he had a really unusual job? I mean, were you watching him when you were a little kid? Were you aware? I mean, or was he just dad and went to work, you know?
For a long, long time, he was just dad that went to work, and dad's coworkers were, you know, people that were also in the TV. But I didn't really understand why it was different until I think I moved to Connecticut. And people would be like, oh, your dad's this big movie star. You're so rich and famous. Your life must be great. I'm like, I mean, it's great, but it's not anything weird. I don't know. It was weird being in a place where that wasn't everyone's dad. In LA, everybody, that's just very normal. So yeah, I mean, I can't think of the moment that I realized, but it's just always kind of been that's just his job, and it's just one of those jobs that everybody idolizes.
It's an emotionally wrenching job, though. I know a lot of people who do that for a living. I've come to know them through the years, and no matter how successful they are, no matter how talented they are, no matter how famous they are, they seem to be plagued with one thing: fear that the job that they're doing will be the last one that they will ever have.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll get the job and it lasts for 3 months, or it lasts for 2 days, or it lasts for 3 weeks, and then what's next? What's after that? There's always that fear inside that, well, when I finish this, what if nobody ever wants me again, ever?
Yeah, absolutely. And he definitely relates to that. But he always jokes, he's like, I've been unemployed my whole life. He's like, he's unemployed till he's not. But no, he always had that that hole in him that he tried to fill with that success and that movie stardom, and he reached it. And then he's like, why do I still feel super bad about myself? That didn't work. So what else do I do now?
Well, we'll ask him when he gets here.
Yes, he will.
In a little while at Q104.3.
Stuck in traffic, Joey Pants.
Danny is with us. Her dad, Joe, will be here shortly. It's 14 after 8 o'clock here at Q104.3. Joe Pantoliano made it in. He was stuck in traffic. And when
the late Joe Pantoliano.
When we that's not a good title.
Oh, that's a horrible thing to say.
No wonder
Joey.
No wonder you're doing a mental health podcast. When we saw how beautifully you were dressed today, we had to play Sharp Dressed Man by ZZ Top. And so that's what we did to bring you in. By the way, I know that you didn't hear her, but your daughter, Danny, flying solo was just wonderful. She did a great job of explaining the podcast, how it came about, your documentary, the work
Congratulations,
that you do
Danny, because I'm still trying to figure out what we're doing.
Mental health and all of that. By the way, just one quick thing, because we've never met before, and this gives me a chance. There's something that's been inside me for many, many, many years. The ending of one of the projects that you were involved in really touched me. I've been carrying it around for years. It was so culturally important, and I thought just perfect. And that was when the Bob Dylan album is brought out at the end of the In Crowd. And it was such a cultural change from the music that was featured on the TV show that your character hosted. And then, boom, what happened all of a sudden, it kind of wiped that part of the culture out and gave birth to a new culture in the 1960s. And I saw, that was the first thing I ever saw that you starred in, and it was in the 80s, and I was breathless at the end of that film. I mean, I was just like, wow, this was really awesome. And your performance was magnificent.
That was a lot of fun. I actually was doing the In Crowd, flying back and forth from Philadelphia to Los Angeles, because I was also doing La Bamba at the same time. And at the beginning part of my career, it was interesting because I kept falling into these musical. I did The Idolmaker. all of these Eddie and the Cruisers, all of these, music, radio.
Yeah, poor John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. I mean, everybody still thinks their one big hit song was by Eddie and the Cruisers.
Yeah.
But Shelli, the In Crowd is about some Philadelphia teenagers.
Ah, that's where I'm from.
Dance show.
Yeah, who go in a
very famous dance show
and dance on a dance show. He played the host, and it was right at that like pre-Beatles 60s period when the world was about to go through another change. It was really one of your many outstanding roles. You've had so many. I mean, as a character guy and as you've also done some leads too. I mean, you've had a very interesting career.
I have, and the fact that I still at 70 I'm still able to do it is a miracle. I always prayed to God that I'd have a 30-year career. Had I known I was going to live this long, I would have asked for more.
We were talking about how insecure actors are, even if they're very successful, because the jobs, unlike most people's jobs, can be a job for 3 days or a job for a week and a half or a job for, a year.
It's like being a
longshoreman.
longshoreman.
But you don't know what's next.
You never know. And it's, so it's a bipolar existence, really. And, but also it's nice not having to go to the same place all the time. I really enjoyed that. And, but also they call it like feast or famine, where you could be out of work and then you get 3 jobs and you can only pick one of the 3 because they conflict with each other.
That has to drive you nuts.
It's like,
because how do you know? How do you know which one?
Well, you don't know.
Because
right?
as an actor, your performance can be outstanding. You can do the greatest job in the world. You can be absolutely magnificent. And a project can still fail and has nothing to do with you.
Mostly, yeah. I mean, if you consider, I've been in over 170 movies, and I've probably been in 7 successful ones. So, on average, 98% of the stuff that I do is real crap.
But
or undiscovered.
Right, or undiscovered.
No, it's real crap. Obviously, you're not familiar with my work.
Well, your daughter was talking with us about how the two of you got together on this podcast. No kidding, me too. And how I thought it was kind of unusual that a father and daughter were able to open up about issues of emotional distress and mental health, because most of us would think, well, I don't want any of my parents to know about that, or I don't want my kids to know about that. We put up walls.
Well, I think Danielle and I discovered the benefits of emotional intimacy and sharing it with people. So there's some kind of a service involved. And as a family, we've always been in the service business, the restaurant business, what have you. We're always, serving people as well as in show business. And the idea that to share the family ups and downs and regulating the ups and downs of life by getting to know each other better, finding out discoveries. I've discovered things about Daniela when she was a kid that I didn't know, and so if people are listening, they can identify and empathize with it, and maybe say, hey, that sounds and feels like me. Maybe it's time I talk to somebody.
And people now the podcast itself, is it one of those situations where it's like wherever you get your podcasts?
Yes.
Okay, and you are going to do something very unusual on Sunday night at 7:30. The New York Comedy Festival will present Group Therapy, a No Kidding Me Too live podcast, and that will be recorded at Gotham Comedy Club in front of a live audience with Jim Norton and Dean Edwards and who else?
Yamanika Saunders.
Right, and then a surprise guest whose name is yet to be revealed.
But will be revealed on Sunstein Sunday at 7 a.m. on Sunday.
And the show starts at 7:30 and the doors open at 7, and tickets are available at Gotham Comedy Club.
And I finally get to play Gotham.
You haven't been able to play the Gotham Comedy Club?
No, I love that club.
Well, you can get tickets at GothamComedyClub.com or NYComedyFestival.com. And there will be candid and revealing and funny conversations that will take place. What people say that, well, the most esteemed cinema artists of all time have pretty much said comedy is hard.
Yeah, dying's easy. That's what they say. How you feeling? Dying is easy. Comedy is hard.
Has that been true for you?
Well, comedy is the saving grace. If I didn't have a sense of humor, I would have been dead a long time ago. You make this whole idea of self-effacing attitudes toward life and the mistakes that I made. That I'm always the butt of my own jokes because it just makes it more accessible to people to see. And I've never had it much to hide. And the idea of being an actor, I think in my case, and I think a lot of actors feel this way, is you never knew who the hell you were anyway. You just didn't get a so after learning about how this performing artist stuff worked, there was a lot of freedom in between action and cut. It was and control. I knew who I was. I knew what I wanted. I had an idea of how I was going to get it, and then I'd get a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance, and
that being the different takes.
Yeah, the different takes and the different angles. There was a lot of comfort in that. Even on stage, you could be doing a play, and the minute that curtain went up, nobody was going to stop and say, "Wait a minute, why is he doing it that way? Why am I asking that question?" That whole rehearsal process always kind of was very arduous.
Well, they say the stage is the actor's medium, and film is the director's medium.
Yeah, that's true. And the edit, it all comes out in the editing. And thank God for good editors, because they made me look way better than I actually am.
Well, you were nice enough to bring us a 4-pack of tickets for your performance on Sunday night at the Gotham Comedy Club in the front row.
Woo!
Okay? So, caller 25 888-872-1043 will set you up. But make sure you can be in Manhattan on Sunday night. Okay? Because this is a big deal. A very big deal. And there's going to be a big surprise guest, too.
That's right.
There's going to be a big surprise guest. Once again, tickets available at GothamComedyClub.com and NYComedyFestival.com. And you can listen to a conversation with Joe and Danny and Shelli Sunday morning at 7 o'clock right here at Q104.3. It is 8:49, and coming up is Free Music Morning with 2.5 hours of commercial-free classic rock for you. That comes up in just a few minutes right here at Q104.3. And I also want to remind you that Billy, of course, back where he belongs in Madison Square Garden. I was there Friday night. That was awesome. What a great thing for the city for Billy Joel to resume his monthly concerts. Anyways, running up the score with record-breaking show number 80 for the franchise. So the May 14th show tickets go on sale Friday morning, 10 o'clock. But all weekend, we'll be giving them away for free right here at Q104.3. So keep it here. So, Joe, sorry you were a little late, but
and stressed. I just hate the idea that you were stressed. I mean, we're all talking about mental health.
The driver was stressed.
Oh, okay.
But I'm a little stressed, and a couple of Billy Joel tickets might straighten me out.
What are you going to say, Jim? Now you're on the spot, Jim.
Billy Joel tickets are way better than Prozac.
This is true.
New York's classic rock, Q104.3.